Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group, and
Hmm.
today we're going to be talking to Miss Khadijah Hardaway about the warrant found for a woman responsible for Emmett Till's killing. And Khadijah, along with my deceased roommate and a person that she worked with, Mr. Alvin Sykes, from my perspective, really brought the Emmett Till case to life and really gave it legs to what we know now and how involved the nation and community is. Welcome to the show, Khadijah.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to currently tell people what my title is. Currently, I am the Vice President for Justice for Wyandotte, located in Kansas City, Kansas. And I am also the Social Action Chair for Grant Chapel AME Church, also located in Kansas City, Kansas. I did work with Alvin Sykes in 2007 as his executive assistant and helped him to pass the Emmett Till Unsolved Civil Rights Crime Law, which, has taken a journey, right? It has newly been enacted as a crime act, adding the LBGT community. It's not exactly what we created, and I do think it needs some work on it, but that's another story. Most importantly, I think we're here to talk about Carolyn Bryant, accomplice to the kidnapping of Emmett Till, and the fact that they have found an arrest warrant, um, 70 dating 70 years back, which is really really important to understand the significance of a arrest warrant and what it represents. You want me to continue?
Absolutely.
So, when there is an arrest warrant or a search warrant issued, usually it has to be approved by a judge. In that case, no one below the judge or that jurisdiction should be able to alter that warrant or not follow the procedures in that warrant. And as it stands, there were three people on that warrant, one of which was Carolyn Bryant, and she was never arrested for the act of kidnapping, which led to the murder of Emmett Till. So, with there being no statute of limitation on murder, we are calling for her arrest and always have been calling for her arrest.
Uh, did you hear any of the hub why they didn't arrest her?
Well, my understanding is, it printed in several media outlets, is that it was because of the fact that she had young children. Um, in today's society, people everywhere have children that commit murder and they still go to jail. Um, you know, it's important to understand how the law works and what are the consequences and what should be the consequences, and understand that. I'm so sorry about that. Hold on, give me just a second. I don't know what happened. And to understand that there are, consequences that should be fully investigated, not just the consequences, but the act of the crime. And the fact that, you can go back 70 years and pull up a search warrant and know that there's no statute of limitation on murder. And, find this information just lets you know that justice uh, will have a light shed on it. No matter what, um, the supremacy of this country puts before us.
Yeah,
And when I say supremacy, I do mean white supremacy. Make no doubt about it.
I looked at the evening world news last night, and then they had specials come on after, and that's why I asked you, did you know the hub on this? I couldn't believe that they said the sheriff said he didn't arrest her because she had two kids, and he didn't want to upset. Go ahead.
Well, in similar fashion, what their pattern and practices. are within, police authorities have never really changed. I mean, you look at Lamont McIntyre, who was just awarded 12.5 million for a wrongful conviction. So in a lot of these situations, the cover up is real, and you do have some honest judges and some honest people, but they take a blind eye to scaling justice in the right manner. And that's because there's a lot of corruption going on. There's a lot of cover up, and there's a lot of people who don't want to be held accountable for, the things that they have done, including murder.
What are you working on right now?
So we are currently at Justice for Wyandotte. We have legal representation for women that have been murdered. Their families who've been murdered by the police department allegedly, and some rape victims. We are currently working on referring those women to some therapy through some grant processes that we're working on. We're also working on no solo, which means no sex with cops and cars. And so we are working on that initiative as we speak, putting together
Can I
strategies.
interrupt you real quick? You
Sure.
really caught my attention. No sex. Is that prevalent that we have to uh,
Well,
make?
if it, there are several topics on the table today that can be discussed in light of cops having sex with citizens without their will. I mean, you take, for instance, Rosie McIntyre, who is the mother of Lamont McIntyre, allegedly repeatedly raped by Roger Gillespie, and other women allegedly repeatedly raped by Roger Gillespie. So if you take that into account, yeah, there are several women who allegedly have been raped, and some who have even won settlements against police departments for this kind of behavior. And that's on both sides of the water. That's just not Kansas, that's on the Missouri side as well. And so, yeah, there needs to be some stipulations and some accountability for officers who break the law as well, in many ways. And that's what I call speaking to reform. You know what I mean? Like, I get defunding the police and all of these other things that people have on the table, but I really believe in taking action right now, immediately. And so that, we can see some results instead of like waiting on different things to happen. We work on legislation, but we also work closely with the people who have authority so that we can make changes right now. And so that really is incumbent upon us understanding the Constitution, the laws, and what's set before us as far as the barriers that are within a system.
All right. In closing, what would you have to say in regards to the case that's getting ready to be brought against this woman as it relates to Emmett Till?
Well, first of all, I want to say, that there are several activists, several people, film directors, college professors that have worked tirelessly to bring justice to Emmett Till. It's not a singular person. Alvin, is the author of the Emmett Till Unsolved Civil Rights Law, right? He's the author of that. But in, however, in so many different ways, there are a lot of different people who have shed light on what has happened to Emmett Till and bringing justice to him. And I would encourage everyone to understand um, the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution and the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, understanding that we are getting ready to celebrate the 4th of July. Slaves were not free when we, encountered this holiday. And, July 9th, a few days around the corner, is the anniversary of the 14th Amendment. Now, the 14th Amendment doesn't necessarily say that African Americans are free because of, that criminalization clause. But to understand the 14th Amendment and its loopholes and what it represents, and to couple that with the understanding of the Fourth Amendment and why it's important to have a search warrant and understand what the search warrant is supposed to say and what it's not supposed to say, or even an arrest warrant, is very important to the times that we're in. It's really important to understand that this country right now, with this Supreme Court, the way it's set up, is trying to set us back. And if you don't educate yourself on the laws and the loopholes, you just might find yourself a victim of the system. And so, in order to stop that victimization and to empower yourself, educate yourself on the amendments of the law. Know when you have been violated and know the steps to take before you enter a claim, before you go see a lawyer or what have you. Let's stop the bleeding and do something about what is happening to us today. That's my thought. I know it's a little windy.
That's all right. We asked you for your thought, and I think that it had a lot of merit. And if our audience is listening, uh, they will have gained some insight on some things
Can I
that.
say one more thing, if I could? And I just want to speak to Black women in particular, women in general. There's a lot going on in this country. We all have our opinions about Roe versus Wade. And I just want to encourage you to get up, put on the robe of politician, and go and step into the role of changing the way the laws are created. If your state is red, turn it purple. If you believe it's too blue, turn it purple, because it is time that we stop this divide that they are trying to slash between us. It is time that we stand up like we always have and let people ride the shoulders of us so that we can make a change in this country that will shift the earth. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean it in every way. Don't look at these parties from a Democratic or Republican side, because at this point in time, no one actually cares about your rights. You will fall if you don't get up.
I'm in total agreement with you, and I'm glad you took that extra time to say that, because I wanted to say the midterm elections are coming up, and the things that have us in these binds is the law. It's not individuals per se, it's the law. And your vote, who you vote for, determines how the laws are written. And myself, I think Black people need to wake up and not just vote for a candidate because they're Black. Uh, we need to know what these candidates stand for, and we need to hold them accountable to carry out our will, not corporate America's will. So, with that being said, I'd like to leave off, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Absolutely.
Program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.